Literally, you said, I'm no longer measuring speed in how we did it with our first software company. I'm measuring it to how much faster I did it last week.
If you're at level 0, please start. I don't even care how you do it. Just do anything.
You have to train it like it's an employee. You have to train it as though you want it to behave the way that you need it.
Golden rule of automation. We've said this since UpLaunch days, our first company. Just don't make me look stupid.
This level that we're talking about is literally doing work that a human would do 92%.
Don't fall in love with the tool you're using. Fall in love with the problem you want to solve. I'm Matt Verlack, and this is Jake Johnson. You're listening to the Founder Fight Club podcast, where we talk to whoever we want about whatever we want on our way to scaling a 9-figure business. That is the deal. What's up, dude?
What's up, man? Happy for episode 4-ish or
it's either 5 or 2, depending on who's counting, but we'll leave that for another day. We're gonna go. We'll go with 2. We'll call it a restart.
Yeah, solid restart.
Yeah.
2 podcasts in, lifelong friends, 20 years in business together in various forms or fashion. Exited a software company right before COVID. We successfully exited and have no regrets of an exit of a company, which is something cool.
Yeah, that was really, really good. So that's pretty much the hit list. If you're new to this and new to us, we were firemen together for a long time. We worked together in the fire department for 10 years plus. Started that first business together in 2018. Like Jake mentioned, we sold that, and that was glorious. And then we broke up for a little while. He did a whole bunch of real estate stuff.
Break up is a strong word.
We loved each other from a distance.
We pursued parallel paths.
It was funny though, because it was always like, we know we're going to build something again together. We just didn't know when or what. And so, you were doing the real estate thing, which isn't my jam. I was doing the education thing, which wasn't yours. And then we came back together and founded Precision a little over a year ago. And here we are. It's going to be our big swing. So
big swing, 9-figure company coming at you, and the journey building it.
Yeah, it's cool. It's fun to call the shot and then make it come true. So I think AI is on the hit list today, huh?
AI is definitely on the hit list, and Matt over there, as we refer to as like a super nerd, has developed an entire second brain that does all of the things. If you guys were in the studio, you would see that we have Mac Minis and monitors and cables everywhere. They're being put in a closet now, so it's 100% okay.
Jake's literally moving my office to a closet. It's fucking rude.
But the increase in productivity that you have been able to generate, this is amazing. You said this morning. We were working out on our team workout this morning. Literally, you said, I'm no longer measuring speed in how we did it with our first software company. I'm measuring it to how much faster I did it last week.
Yeah.
We got to get into how that happens.
All right. Sick. I'm going to actually pull up the guy who built one of the things I'm going to talk about, because I want to give him a shout. And then I'll get into it, but I got to give the people the credit that they deserve. All right. So before I get into that, I just need to have it ready. Before I get into that, let's just talk about using AI in general. All right. And Jake challenged me before we turned the camera on. He was like, try to explain everything you're doing as if I'm 5.
Which, I'll keep him in check.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thanks. Someone's got to do it, because I'm going to be like, hey, zeros and ones and fucking blah, blah, blah. Here's the deal. When you're thinking about using AI, level 0 is you're not. If you're at level 0, please start. I don't even care how you do it. Just do anything tomorrow, like today. From there, level 1 is you're chatting with it, right? You're using ChatGPT or you're using Claude. Usually it starts with some surface level prompts like, hey, answer me this question or build me a report on X. And a lot of the time you get mediocre results. And then a lot of people are like, what the heck? This isn't that cool.
I would say level 1 is you kind of replace Google with Claude or Chat. And some people level 1 is you might only be using a lot of people don't even know what Claude is. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's really good for writing. But the interesting thing about level 1 when you're chatting with it is you're gaining some speed, but you're not gaining leverage. And the difference between those two things, to me, speed is exactly what it sounds like. How long does it take you to complete a task? If you are chatting with it, you can tell it to do something. And like our SDR, JC, said in the gym this morning, had a buddy who needed some help going through a whole bunch of emails over the past 3 years for a lawyer or some shit. And so his buddy was getting ready to search in Gmail and find all the stuff and read it and organize it. And JC plugged him into Claude and got it done in 5 minutes. So yeah. It's not leverage, because to me, I define leverage as tasks getting done without you. It's parallel work streams.
Yeah.
But it's definitely speed, right? That took something that would have been an 8-hour project 5 years ago and made it an 8-minute project. So that's cool.
Yep. And to layer on speed for like our new users on how you're interacting with that, let's just make sure when you interact with it, if you're gonna type into ChatGPT, hey, I need this email drafted for this human, all the comments that come from ChatGPT post email are not actually included in the copy and paste.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. Sounds good, Jake. Yes, here's the email you should send. Dear Matt. And then
Yeah,
it's all in the email. Yeah,
all in the
it's
email.
a rookie
I have
mistake.
received an email in the last 2 weeks that literally had the ChatGPT prompt in it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
all right,
The
notch down.
the thing about using chat in general, there's an interesting mindset shift that I think people need to have, especially if you're brand new at this, which is you use a computer or you use a piece of software and you expect it to be perfect right out of the gate. But if you hire an employee, you expect them to be a fucking like disaster for the first couple of weeks until you train them and they get read in and you give them details and you teach them how your business works and what your values are and why you do the things that you do. All of that's super important. And so I think that one of the biggest traps that people will fall into is they will give a very surface level prompt with no context. They don't, something called a master prompt. In fact, I'm going to put a bunch of resources and a link below this video. So if you're watching this on YouTube, just click the link and I'm going to ask you for an email address because that's what I do. But I'll give you like everything we talk about. So there's something called a master prompt where I built a prompt to create a master prompt. And so it asked me like 48 freaking questions about everything. Like, what are my goals in life and how do I want to be communicated with? So now like it knows, for instance, and so I load the master prompt into every chat that I have. And so now like ChatGPT knows, for instance, that I want the bottom line up front because I'm an impatient bastard. And if it's helping me make a decision, I want 3 options. And then I also want its recommendation and have it defend the recommendation that it made on why it's better than the other 2 options, which is the same way that I interact with you
Yep.
and the same way that I interact with our team. It's the same thing. So the
It's real.
principle,
Yeah, it's really like a definition of expectations. Like
yes,
if you can define the expectations like you would with any human being or any team that you coach or anything that you're using, like if you have misaligned expectations, the result is never going to be there. And
yeah,
so many people, like all of those little millions of processing data points in our mind, they lose track of when they're like, "Oh, I just want this." And it comes back and they're like, "Why wasn't that exactly what I wanted?"
yeah,
It's because you didn't set the right expectation or give it the right context to do what you want.
yeah. So like just think of it like a person is really the way I teach
Yeah.
people. Like at its most basic form is if you would hire someone and expect them to get it perfect without training them, you've never hired someone. So like you have to train the chat.
Have a t-shirt.
Yeah,
Failed
been
lots of
there, done
times.
that. Every time you think it's going to be easy, you just get reminded. It's
Yes.
good. It's a self-delivering lesson. But you got to train it is the bottom line. So like I would definitely create a master prompt to teach it your preferences about how you would like to be communicated with. In my master prompt is our team. So if I'm asking it something about sales, it's going might say like, "Hey, go message Jake and ask him this, 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 and this, and build a system with him around that," because it knows who Jake is and it knows that you are in charge of sales. It's like, so it's really it's low effort, high return to like get it to talk to the way you want it to
And
talk.
so I think we just identified level 2. So like level 1 is like we're just using it, we're interacting with it, we're getting a little bit faster. Level 2 is that we're actually training it to do
Mm.
things faster based on context.
Yeah, to me, it's like 1.5
1.5.
because
All
it's
right.
still
All
in
right.
the chat. It's still in the chat.
It's
You're
2
still
for a
there.
5-year-old.
There you
It's
go.
level
So
2 for a
I'm
5-year-old.
trying to make you not have to count that high, bro. I'm here for
All
you.
right, good.
So but that's like the first step. So if you're not using it, get in the chat, but like make a master prompt, use my template, plug it into the tools that you use. Like they're so easy now. You can plug it into email and your calendar and your Notion and whatever. Plug it in.
Yeah, another thing that you brought up this morning that is just like crazy important. We were talking in the gym is like so many people think that doing the master prompt is like I'm wasting time doing this.
Yeah.
It's not that. You have to do the master prompt. You have to train it so that then you see the result of how much faster and more effective the work is. You're not wasting time. That's the first step of like a little bit of leverage where it's like, oh, I don't have to give it context every time because it has context.
Yeah. It's funny. I talked to a bunch of friends that run companies, and it's like AI adoption is this continuum. Some people are like hardcore, I'm all in, I'm going to use it for everything. I think that's better than the other extreme. There's still some things like, we talk about this, and I got it from Dan Martell, but we like Project 92, right? We want AI to ideally do like 92% of the work that we were doing on a daily basis, like before we had AI, and that 8%. Those are the things that like there's some things you shouldn't outsource. You can't outsource taste. You can't outsource like your own like critical judgment. Like it's still not particularly good on like emotional intelligence, like those kind of things. So like you still got to touch it. You still got to be involved. You
I
know.
think like 92%, a lot of people misinterpret like what AI is doing, and they think that it can fully complete a task on its own. And that means, and like there's plenty of things that it can, but the 92% that we refer to is like, how much faster can you get to the outcome? There's the human checkpoint in there
Yeah,
of, and we'll get deeper into it on how you're utilizing that. But if it
sure.
can do 90% of the work and then you're only focusing on the last 10% from a quality control standpoint, reprompting, retraining to make sure that the result is the same, like
Yeah,
that's where
that's good.
you, yeah, that's big, big leverage.
Yeah. So if you want to know where to start, start there. Plug it into your tools, use chat, build a master prompt, get it to talk to you the way you want to be talked to. And you'll go from there. And eventually you will find this friction point of I'm spending my whole day in this chat window and I still have shit to do. And I want to I don't want to be copying and pasting things from all these different places. And ideally it can get kicked off without me. That's when you graduate to level 2, which is automation. And so it's still like it's a workflow. Like I would define automation as a workflow where a condition or an event happens that kicks off a chain of steps to like do this and do this and do this and do this. Like if you've been building in the online space for the past 10 years, you know what Zapier is, right? And like Zapier existed long before AI. It was a freaking pioneer company. But it's essentially still it's a business process automation, right? Like I do this thing, maybe it meets some conditions and like option A or option B or a filter, like continue, but you're still chaining these things together. But the cool thing is now you can have AI be part of the automation, right?
Yeah. So I can go like a to get it back to a 5-year-old, maybe not a 5-year-old level, but get it
Like
back to a
don't
level
don't backpedal now, bro.
where we where we understand what that would mean in a genuine workflow. When we first started doing sales demos here, we were pulling down the transcript via Zoom manually and then taking that and uploading it into a pre-built master prompt inside of ChatGPT to evaluate, score the calls, point out the things that needed to be done based on our playbook. So we gave AI the appropriate context, and then we were manually pulling transcripts from Zoom,
Yep.
pulling them in, dropping them in the prompt, and getting results. Like that wasn't automated. That's still like a level
It's a
one
great
use.
example. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so now the next step, we take that from level 1 to level 2 is we automate that transcript pool. And all of a sudden you're getting a report that's like, hey, this sales call just happened.
Yeah.
Here's the result of that.
Yep. Yeah, exactly right. Like that is essentially what it is. You're executing the same process, but you're taking yourself out of the equation as the trigger.
Yeah.
Is the easiest way to think about
Yep.
it. And the cool thing about having AI as a step in there is because you can use it to solve some ambiguity that you wouldn't otherwise be able to solve with like a non-AI workflow, right? Like they're like sending outbound emails. Like when we were running High Speed Ventures, we did a whole lot of outbound for business that we had worked on for a while. And this was again like pre-AI, it's 2021. It's like before before ChatGPT came out, any of that stuff. And so like when you're sending outbound emails, you want to like personalize it. And so it was really like, I mean, gosh, we were like figuring out spreadsheets and then like looking at the companies and then like making the company names lowercase and trying to like trim shit off of them if they like, you want to be like, oh, I see you're working at Precision Corp. Like it's just not how humans talk. And there's like a lot of these steps, but it still culminated with a human being going through the spreadsheet, which we were the humans, it's us,
Yep.
figuring out like, is this email going to make us sound stupid or not? And so now like you can actually put AI into your workflow where like for each outbound target you get, go research the company, figure it out, look at the company name, trim off the corporate entity suffixes and all this stupid shit that would make you look dumb. The risk, though, like you said, is then a lot of people just turn the machine gun on and just start carpet bombing people's email inboxes. Like,
Fire away.
yeah, keep the human in the loop, make sure it's still good. The golden rule of automation, we've said this since UpLaunch days, our first company, which was an automation company, is just don't make me look stupid.
Yep.
So, but that's level 2, that's automation. But the part that I want to talk about today, the part that made you want to talk about this with me on this podcast is level 3, which is agents. And the thing is, that word agents, agentic, like it gets thrown around a lot, and a lot of the time it just makes me roll my eyes because like people are just like, oh, it's an agentic workflow, and I'm like, it's some fucking ding dong writing in chat GPT and it
When
doesn't
you
make any
invent
sense.
terms to describe things, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
Like
so
what, like before we even get into it,
yeah,
let's, like, we're talking to a kindergarten class
yep,
here. Like I'm a part of it, everybody, just to
yeah,
let you know. What does it mean?
yeah. So the way that I would talk about it in the context of what we're going through here is we know what the automation is, right? Like an event happens, a trigger happens, it kicks off a series of events. um, Using an agent can handle things that are a lot more ambiguous and can bring a task all the way to completion, right? So for instance, in the automation thing, the sales call has to happen, but it's triggered off of a specific type of call that is a specific meeting type or whatever. Whereas an agentic workflow might say, hey, every Friday morning at 6 p.m. That 6 p.m. isn't in Friday morning. Every Friday,
I mean, it could
it
be. It
could
is
be.
somewhere.
It says
Somewhere it
6
is.
p.m. somewhere.
Yeah.
Let's crack a beer. No, every Friday afternoon when I close the week, go through all my sales calls, find the 3 that have the highest level of performance and the 3 that I fucked up the most, and tell me what I did right on the ones that worked and the things that I need to correct on the bottom. Or even to take that to the next level, you just have it processing real time every call that you do, but then it decides which ones to flag to you based on doing a good job or a bad job and which ones not to. Um, and then like taking it even further, it could potentially like put together training material or coaching topics and then post it to Slack and tag your sales team and get everyone schooled up on what's going well and what's not. So it gets you closer to this like ideal state of essentially having an AI employee. Like there's a lot of people saying like they're gonna have AI agents on the org chart in businesses. And I always, dude, I don't want to be a doubter, but I always see people say that. I'm like, cool, and I want a fucking pony, right? Like it's whatever. This week was the first time where I was
And now
like,
we have a Mac
oh
Mini
yeah,
in a
like
closet.
yeah, like, and so this is gonna be hard to keep in 5-year-old territory. But I'm gonna run with it because like what happened
Well, before we go
is
there,
crazy. All right,
I
all
want
right,
to
all right.
recap the agent thing and
Yeah,
just
yeah,
make sure, like layman's terms, when we build on that process, there's so many additional things that it could do. And we look at let's give a couple concrete examples. Like if I'm sitting here as a sales leader
yeah,
and I have 5 people doing calls, 20 calls a week. Now I'm talking about 100 calls a week that I'm getting a report from Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock. I can look at this report and say all of the information that was done by my sales team this week is right in front of me. I can see the 5 best calls, the 5 worst calls. Potentially, it could send Slack messages to people on my team to
yeah.
say, hey, I want to chat with you about this call. Let's schedule a time next week.
That's where I define the difference.
Yeah.
Receiving the report is still automation, right? You can
Yeah.
set up a report to give
The
you
next
yeah,
action.
it's judgment. It's saying
Yeah.
like I can actually use judgment to make some different decisions and work with a less defined set of criteria to still get the outcome and get the task all the way to completion. Because even with an automation, when you receive your report from your prompt that was level 1, so you automate it as level 2, then you still have to decide what to do with it.
Yes.
Right. And so like I'm not personally at the point where I'd be like, we're just gonna have AI like coach our salespeople instead of Jake.
Yeah, of course.
Right. Although it can help. It can at least hold up the mirror and show you what you've already done. But if it can use the judgment to figure out which calls and which reps to flag for good and for bad and actually send the messages and preload the coaching context, so that way they show up to their call with you already read in on the calls that you want to talk about, that's pretty powerful.
Or like some things that I'm thinking about as we're talking through this, just being the data guys, trending data is like so valuable, but people don't look at the trend. They don't look at the line. So when I look at 100 sales calls, if there's a trend in that sales call, maybe it's an objection that it's going to pick up.
Yeah.
And then we have training related to that objection. And it's surfacing that training on Friday afternoon. Hey guys, before our Monday stand up, I want everyone to go through this training. That's like,
Yeah, there's ways this will be out of 5-year-old territory, but there's something called a vector database, and it's essentially like the easiest way to think about it is like if you think about data, it's you have structured and unstructured data, right? So structured data is like leads, 12, sales, 5, right? Win rate, whatever, sales divided by leads. Like there's structure to it. It's called a key value pair for all you fucking nerds out there. But the point is you have unstructured
hey,
data.
5-year-olds, man.
I know they know the word key and value. My 5-year-old can say both of those words. He's 6 now, but um so then there's unstructured data, which is like meeting transcripts and just like a jumble of shit, right? And so what vector databases do is they take this unstructured data, they essentially convert it to like numbers that make it easier to search, because then the computer will like take your search query, turn that into numbers and find the chunks that like match up the closest. Point is, I probably butchered that a little bit, but like the point is like it's a very efficient way to find matching items in unstructured data. So why do we care? Because now using databases like that, you can let AI search through an insanely large amount of information and find the exact thing that you're looking for very, very efficiently. And so like before, like think about level 1, you're manually doing all of your sales call audits. You are the vector search, right?
Yes.
You're looking through and then you are using your own judgment, which by the way, like you're a smart dude, but like if I were like, hey, what are the biggest objection trends over the past 6 months of sales calls? There's no fucking way.
No.
Like, there's no way, right? You'd have to go back and do a research project. And then that would also be your best guess. Humans are going to human. That would be your best guess after like spot checking 5 calls per month for the past 6 months. Because, like, what are you going to do? Read every sales call?
Well, here's the thing. It's two things are going to happen which prevent companies from growing. One, my gut says
Yeah.
I'm going to do this because this is what I think or feel or have heard,
Yeah.
which you might only have heard this much of it.
Yeah.
The second thing is that you might be making decisions based on things that you just could be inventing it
Hmm.
because you don't have the answer. And so if you can be armed with the information that is like concrete, black and white, we know this. Wow, how much faster can you move?
Yeah, dude, it's a human principle, and you see it. I see it in the way that like large populations fucking interact with each other and exist. Human beings are very bad at statistics and very good at anecdotes, right? Like you could be like, oh my God, there's people getting shot on the street corners. And unless you fucking got shot or you know someone that got shot, you'd be like, nobody getting shot on street corners. I got a street corner. Nobody got shot over there. I'm fucking good to go. Right. And all of a sudden you see one guy get popped on a street corner. All of a sudden everyone's getting shot on fucking street corners.
Yes.
We're bad with numbers. We're good
Yeah.
with what we see and we experience. And so the only way to like get people to get it is like you have to be able to give you the numbers in your face so you can actually understand what you're looking at.
Yeah, we've heard this so many times. I'm pretty sure I saw Tony Robbins do this to someone on a podcast when he was like,
I know what you're talking about.
yeah, exactly, on the colors, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Where he's
Well,
like,
okay,
hey,
that was with Theo Vaughn.
yeah, Theo Vaughn. He's like, hey, I want you to pick out everything in the room that's red. And he's like, oh, he looks around and he's like, okay, cool, I'm good to go. And he's like, now tell me what's brown. And
Yep.
he's
Nothing brown. It's
nothing
all
brown.
red.
Nothing brown. That's a concrete example of
Yeah.
exactly how that situation would unfold.
Yeah, man, 100%. And so yeah, so like using AI to overcome that is fascinating to me. Like he's just a great data analyst partner. And so yeah. All right. So we want to get into the
So we got
sauce. or
level
what?
one.
We got, yep.
We got level two.
Yeah.
Now is where we get into level three.
Yeah.
which
So
is-
you need to have information to search, but like really it's taking ambiguous situations and using judgment to bring a task to completion. Like, and that's where it like gets on the org chart. I begrudgingly am saying it, but fuck, it's fucking cool.
What are we going to name the Mac Mini? Does it have a name other than Matt's brain?
Here, joke's on you. There's actually multiple agents inside the Mac Mini.
So it's plural.
It's plural. It's tough. I named the main bot Axiom. That's what I call it, and its emoji is a lightning bolt.
I love it.
I remember when I looked the definition of Axiom, it was like keeper of all knowledge or some shit. Let me look it up now because I want to know. Nope, spelling. It's 5-year-old.
So as you're looking for that, for the name, I want us to start with why did we even get to this point? What led to, what were the triggers that were like, because the speed increase that we've had this week, specifically on the software development and your ability to move fast is incredible.
An axiom is a statement that everyone believes is true. And so I picked it because I feel like if it's the keeper of all the knowledge, then we get to operate in observable facts instead of people's opinions.
Nice.
Yeah. What was your question?
For those of you just now joining us,
including me,
Matt cannot do two things at once.
Shocker. Neither can anyone else. If you think you can, you're fucking
And
lying,
I can't remember anything, so I don't even know what the question was.
It's perfect.
No.
I think it was like how we got here, right?
No, yeah. The question was, what triggered going from level 2 to level 3? Because you're an extremely intelligent tech side guy.
Yeah.
That for you to make a jump at this point in the game, there was some triggers in there that were like, how do I? And here's the nugget: that listen now, because this is give me a multiple of speed in which you did things this week compared to the week before, and this is already a human that does things very fast.
I was able to build on Wednesday of this week. We're shooting this podcast on a Friday. I was able to build on Wednesday the same amount of work that probably would have taken me 2 full days to build 2 weeks ago, but I was able to do it on Wednesday while I was doing other work. We say like humans can't multitask. That's still true, but humans with an AI multitasking for you, you can get a lot of shit done. You can accomplish multiple tasks.
And so I love the benchmark of this week compared to last week. Now let's go back just to give people full context. What did that look like a year ago?
Oh my God. A year ago, I would have not been able to do any of it, and I would have had to hire more engineers to do it for me.
It's crazy.
Like straight up. And
so a year ago, it was $500,000 in expense to get the task done.
Sure.
2 weeks ago, it was 2 days of your time.
It was $40 in tokens for Claude's API. All good.
And now
that's the thing. Like I've ripped $800 on Claude Anthropic tokens this week. Like that's the like unit of payment for AI. I don't give a shit. Like I don't care. Like, yes, there was a couple of things I optimized. I was like using super expensive models for little stuff. So I like fixed that. So now it's like 10 times more efficient now. But the point is like, don't be cheap on AI tools and don't be a micromanager on AI tools. Like anyone on our team can get whatever AI tool they want to test it. I'm going to look at what we spend money on quarterly and pair shit back. But like, you got to try stuff. And everyone's like, how do I make sure everyone's using the same team? Like, fucking don't. Like, just let people try shit and see what works, because it's changing and it's changing and it's changing and it's changing. Like, don't fall in love with the tool you're using. Fall in love with the problem you want to solve. Like, just let people buy shit and make time to use it. Like, if you don't fuck with AI for an hour a week, you don't get to work here. Like, you're off my fucking team. Like, you get better, you use the tools, or you can go be mediocre somewhere else. Like, I don't care. The gains that I've gotten from what we've done in the past few weeks, it's irresponsible not to do it. Like, being slow is a choice. It is a choice. And our company value, one of our 3 company values, is we ship like crazy. So if you hire and fire against values, and right now, like, AI is the biggest thing to allow us to ship like crazy, if you willingly don't lean into it, you have to go work somewhere else. I will never compromise. Like, I will not compromise, period. It's too good. It's not fucking negotiable.
So nuts and bolts.
Nuts and bolts. Let's go.
Let's get people to a point where they feel empowered to do it.
Yeah.
Like,
So
I want the trigger. Like, what happened?
I'll
Like,
give you the trigger.
there's specific things that happen in events that led to, like, all right, I need to dedicate. Time is valuable.
Yeah.
Dedicate an entire weekend.
Yep.
You know, juggling kids and like being excited about something. Like, there was a decision to
Trigger
say
was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
The trigger was 5 years ago. I took a course called Building a Second Brain from Tiago Forte. And one of the things that I learned from him, there was a few things about like how you store information and all this kind of stuff. But the biggest thing that I took from that is I got a lot of value out of writing down a daily note. And this is pre-AI. This is like back in the day, right? And I have like a note tool that I would use. I've tried all of them. I have a problem. Shocker. And I'll get to the one I'm using right now. But the point is, I would open up a note. I would have a note every day. And it would just have like my big 3 goals for the day, all the meetings and shit that I'm doing. So I can like write down notes as we're talking, a little bit of reflection at the end of the day. Like, what went well? What could I improve on? What do I need to do tomorrow? Like, very basic, not scientific. And what I realized about myself over the past few years running that process is that my compliance was very poor. I would run it, and I know it's like working out, right? It's like, you are healthier when you do it, but then, at least for me, sometimes I still will not do it.
Yeah.
And then I feel less healthy, and then I know I feel less healthy because I stopped doing the thing, and I have to go back and start doing the thing. The daily note is that for like my professional performance, right? I know that I do better when I write things down. So, but like, there was always this missing part. Like, I've been saving my Kindle highlights for 5 years. I've been saving my Twitter bookmarks for 5 years, ever since I took that course. And it's always been this one part in my head, which is no reflection on what I learned from Tiago or anything. It's a me problem, where I was like, it feels a little bit like theater, because I would very rarely, if ever, go back and actually search through the notes or summarize the notes or pull out the insights, because
a lot of that was being you were at least syncing it to Notion, right? I think you were
Yeah,
using
yeah.
Notion. Yeah, syncing it to Notion, searchable database. Like, you had the tools.
searchable and searching are different.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
It was searchable. It made me feel good, like I was being productive. I fucking barely ever used it for
Yeah.
anything, because I would like search it, but like wouldn't find the right thing, and then I'd like go through all the search results and then draw inferences of what patterns. I'm just like, fuck
and they'd
it,
be like,
man.
"Did I search for the wrong thing? Maybe they
Yeah.
used this word instead of that word."
Exactly.
Then you're searching for that. Next thing you know, 45 minutes goes by. You're frustrated. You shut
And you're
it down.
trying to find, this is the beauty of that vector search thing, the vector database that I was talking about earlier. So like, why should you care if you made it past that numbers and letters explanation? Fucking good on you. But like, let's say there's a quote. Give me a quote. Pick it out of any book.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I could pick one. All right, the book that I'm reading right now, The Art of War, talks about soldiers being fluid like water.
Okay, perfect. So old school search. You need to know, so number one, if you search for the word soldiers in the art of war, you're fucking sunk, right? You might as well just read the book.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's not useful. So you have to remember fluid and water, right? But if you were to say like, man, what was that quote in the art of war about being adaptable? You are not going to find fluid water quote by searching for the word adaptable. I promise you, 0 out of a million times will you find it. But with a vector search, you can say like, hey, find me quotes in this book about like the importance of soldiers being adaptable. Find me specific quotes. And
also, what's amazing about that is that quote that I just said might be the quote. It might not be.
Yeah.
Because your brain interprets
Sure.
it what you want it to
Yeah.
be, and then you go back and you're like, oh yeah, I understand that.
Yeah,
That's what.
revisionist history like a
Yeah,
bug, right?
exactly.
So the point is like you can ask for like themes like that and it will, you can then figure out like what it just fucking does it, man. It just finds the shit that matches and returns the quotes and it's sick.
So you were taking all of the things that were very valuable information to you, putting them in a place, but then never
Yeah.
being able to re-access
Yeah,
them.
they were inherently there was perceived value, but they were actually valueless because I never used them.
Checking the box.
Checking the box. And I look, it was automated. It
Yeah.
wasn't costing me money or time to check the box.
Yeah.
So it was like, cool, whatever. I got all these things. And then everyone's like, oh, what's your little system? And I'd be like, look at all my highlights. And like, thank God they were never like, what'd you use them for? Like fucking nothing. Showing them to you on Zoom. Like, I don't know. So I got this like database, right? And so I had these notes and I'd do it and I wouldn't do it. And it felt better when I did it. And then I stopped doing it, whatever. Um, so that was true up until like 3 weeks ago, dude. 2 or 3 weeks ago. There's lots happening in 2 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So I guess it was what's today? So today's January 16th. It was actually Christmas Eve that I started messing with this. I have no life. I promise you, I did Christmas with my kids. But anyway, so there's someone who posted and they were like, they basically took Claude Code, which is an AI tool that runs in your terminal on your computer, like where you like nerds just write commands and shit. If you know what it is, you know what it is. If you don't know what it is, you probably don't have to worry about it. But like, it's just like if you look like the Matrix, right, where you're like writing your commands. So like most normies aren't using the terminal, right?
Yeah.
They're like logging into Claude and chatting.
I mean, like, I would explain Claude Code because I've seen it. It's like for those of you that don't know what it is, if you know what a 1980s video game module looks like, where
Yeah.
it's just like, toot, 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 toot,
Sure.
there's like these little codes going and backslash this and,
Yeah.
you know.
And honestly, like as a sidebar, if you're like, oh, that sounds weird, like get over it, use
Yeah.
it. I was talking to one of my buddies and he was like, I want to use Claude Code to like build these resources. He runs a like really high end creative agency. And he was like, but I just feel like intimidated by the terminal. I was like, sick, just install it and just play. And like literally 2 hours later, he's like, I'm good.
Or like similar to like a PC user to a Mac. Like
Sure.
if you don't understand what command, backslash, like
Yeah.
those things, you're like, oh, I'll never use a Mac because it's got these short codes and it has all this stuff. And it's like, all right,
And then you use it and it's sick.
use it. And then next thing you know, you're like looking at your iPhone and you're like, oh, so sick that
Yeah.
everything I did there is here. And it's like,
So I saw this tweet, and it was basically somebody who had integrated a note-taking tool called Obsidian with Claude Code. And so Obsidian is interesting because unlike a lot of cloud-based software, Obsidian actually just stores the text files on your computer. And Claude Code, if you build software, the way that it works is you have the software is like in the cloud, like on GitHub or whatever, and you basically pull down versions of it locally onto your computer. So you have the code on your physical computer, and then, in yesteryear, you just open it up in an editor and change the words, and now you can use Claude Code. And it's essentially using AI to like change the files on your computer. So the interesting thing with this is, of course, if Claude Code can change code files on your computer, it can change note files on your computer. So this dude integrated Obsidian and Claude Code, and I was like, that feels powerful. So I set it up, and this was like there were two phases to my
binge.
my
AI
binge.
binge.
This is phase one, where it's in there, and I got the split screen it. I've got the notes up on the left. I've got the terminal up on the right, and so now I can be like /daily and it will run a command and set up my daily note and put in all my stuff, and it will shoot out to my calendar and get all my events and list them out and look up the people who are in my database and figure out who the people are that I'm talking to. So like it does all that legwork for me, and that was sick. And so then I was like, okay, cool. And I started building skills, which are like little workflows to teach Claude Code how to talk to you. Same, you're seeing a trend here. You have to teach it how to talk to you. And so now it's helped me set my annual goals. It helps me set up my day. It helps me do a weekly review to figure out if I'm, hitting the right stuff or not. But just like level one that we talked about in the beginning, it was speed, but not leverage. Because if I didn't open my computer and type /daily and set up the day, it wouldn't set up the day. And if I forgot to close the day, it wouldn't go get my meeting transcripts and put them in my notes. And so there was like, it was still dependent on me. Now, this was a huge speed upgrade, and like I was stoked. I set up vector databases. I push all my meetings in there now. So like I could be like, in fact, I wish to like do this. Like go over there and be like, hey, what's the last thing I talked to Jake about? I will do that in a minute on our phone because I can once I get to phase two because I know I can do it with my phone. But so that was like phase one, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, total sense. Let me recap for you. So just kind of like basic workflows here because we're setting up notes. And so I know that some glossed over things, like you use Fathom as your note taker.
Mhm.
So it's taking all meeting transcripts from Fathom, dropping them into the computer as notes with people in there
And to the vector database, so
and
they're
to the vector
searchable.
database, so
Yep.
it's searchable. So then when we have another meeting with that human being and we need to be prepped for that meeting, we can reference on our daily meeting when it comes up and says, hey, like I have a meeting with Jake today, it will automatically populate some of the things that we talked about previously that might, need to be talked about, might not need to be talked about. There's a lot of tools in there that are kind of connecting. It's not that we're just like pulling Twitter saved files and we're pulling, daily notes and everything like that. You're creating a database of
Correct.
more and more and more. You're just plugging in Fathom, you're plugging in this so that that database is growing based on your daily activities, which is then making this thing smarter as more information comes into it.
Yeah, the sum of the parts is you're using all three levels,
Yeah.
right? So like I can still chat with it and ask it questions. That's like a level one thing. It's just
Yep.
my chat, which I'll get to in a sec. There's automation, which is like what you just explained, and there's also doing work for me, which
Yep.
which we'll get to.
Yeah,
So
we're gonna get to
so this was like phase one of the awakening,
Yes.
right? And so it's like it's there, but it's all synchronous. But I'm like, all right, like using AI in my non-coding workflows. I've been coding with AI since the minute we were able to, and it's been amazing. And it was just one of those things. Like I find consistently in life, the best ideas are the ones that I feel like an idiot for not coming up with myself. And so it's just one of those things where, like, of course, it's obvious that I could use Claude Code on my computer to touch files that are not code. Like, there's inherently no difference. Right? It's
Yeah.
text or it's code, it doesn't fucking matter. So that was cool. And I was like, this is sick. And then I saw this quote, or this tweet rather. I saw this tweet from this guy named Peter Steinberger, who's um, exited founder, fucking big exit. I'd never heard of him before. He's crazy smart. And he built this thing called Claudebot. And first off, it's hilarious because the whole thing is like a lobster, like, because he's like CLAWD. So like his whole thing is a lobster, and he's like, oh, I'm like the smartest crustacean ever. It's fucking so funny.
SpongeBob.
Yeah.
We got
Right. Yeah.
SpongeBob
I
AI
don't know if
here.
I think he lives in Vienna, which is different than a pineapple under the sea, but there
Similar.
are people talking about Claudebot being like the best piece of software that anyone's written in the last year. Like this dude's doing open source for free, just like hacking to be of service to society, which is sick. So I'll put a link to Peter in the notes, to Claudebot in the notes. And so I saw it, and I'll explain what it does in a minute, or at least my understanding of it. But and I saw it for like a week, and it was one of these things. Like you ever have something where you're like, I want to try this thing, but I don't want to get sucked down the rabbit hole, and like I had a bunch of work to do, and this and this and that,
Yep.
and I was like, all right. And there was like a weekend, it was like a Sunday. And we had this. So like the thing with Claudebot is the best way to set it up is you set it up like on a spare computer. So that way it can actually like use the computer.
Mhm.
And we had the spare computer here at the studio, and I messaged Dylan, our head of media, and I was like, bro, you need that Mac Mini? And he's like, no, I'm good. I'm like, sick. So I drove up here with my kids. I get the computer. I go back home with them because they had like shit to do and whatever. And my middle kid is like super into coding and computers. So we set this thing up on the dining room, right? Now it's set up in our table over there. And he's like, what are you building, Dad? And I'm like, because I told him all about the phase one, right? I'm like,
Yep.
the thing where like I can talk with my notes. She's like, yeah, yeah. I'm like, I'm gonna set it up so I can do it from my phone from anywhere, and it can do stuff without me. And he's like, what? So
That's so cool.
I'm like, sick. So we set this thing up in the morning, and then the afternoon I drop it all off here and I set it up and I get messing with it. And so basically, what Claudebot does is you can use Claude, you can use OpenAI like ChatGPT's
Yep.
services, you can use whatever, but essentially it lets you install it on a computer that you can then access remotely, like over Telegram or over Slack, etc., to do things without you. Peter built a whole bunch of infrastructure in it to like let you curate its personality, and like how it interacts with you. So like kind of like a substituting a master prompt to give it guidance on how you want work to be done. And then also he has the ability to like do tasks autonomously at predefined periods of time. So now like my daily note gets set up at 5 a.m. Great. And it's waiting for me when I open my computer or my phone. And if I forget to close the day because like it asks me questions about my day as part of the reflection, but if I forget to do it at 11 p.m. when I'm snoozing nap time, it's going to at least like shut it down and pull all the meeting transcripts and put them in there and stuff. Um, so that's Claudebot. Yes. So I'm going to show you one thing on the quotes first. I'm literally pulling up Telegram right now. What do you want to know? What should I ask it? What do you want to know about something you've said?
Something that I've said in a meeting that we've had.
Sure.
Let's go back to our revenue call that we had on. Let's talk about our paid ad strategy from our revenue call on
Okay,
Monday.
so what's working and what's not on our paid ad
Yeah.
strategy over the past 4 weeks? Okay. Hey, can you audit all of the revenue calls that I've had with Jake? I want to understand his perspective on what's working and what's not on our paid ad strategy for Precision over like the past 4 weeks. Voice note, baby. So I'm gonna let that eat for a minute. But what this is doing right now is it's taking this voice note that I just sent it's transcribing it, and then hitting Claudebot on the computer that's over there, which is then going to go look up the meeting transcripts
In the vector
in the vector
database.
database and find a whole bunch of things and formulate an opinion, and then spit back to me a list of what your take is.
And so it's interesting, like when we're looking at the phone end of it, like this is where the terrifying Claude code is happening in the side where it's just, if we were over there at the terminal, we'd be looking at the terminal, just it's talking to itself as it's trying to find the context.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. So yeah, so it's freaking wild. So that's looking things up. Well, it does that. So here's the deal, right? We're going to add up a lot of the parts that we've talked about. So the thing about Claude Code, or the thing about Claudebot that's really, really important is it can drive the computer that it's installed on. So it has access to the computer, plus whatever information you give it. It can open a web browser. It can take screenshots from the web browser. It can use the web browser. It can browse all the files. Like it can do the things that you can do if you're sitting at the computer, if you set it up that way, which is different than if you're like running it on the cloud, or just having it set up there on your computer. Like it drives the Mac is the pineapple under the sea. Which is freaking bananas. And so basically, the way that I'm using this now, if you connect the dots, what are all the things we've talked about that can be on a computer? All of my daily notes, all of my meeting transcripts, all of my person files, everything that I do, all of my goals for the business and for my life, all of our code bases, the code base for our marketing website, the code base for our web platform, the code base for our data transformation, blah, 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 whatever, like all the shit that we build, right? Plus anything you can browse on a web browser, anything that you can log into that I give it credentials to, any API that I give it an API key to plug into. So it has the keys, right? It has the keys. It has the keys to our product management, like our ticketing system, Linear. It has our code base. I don't let it push to the code base, but it can download it and do some work.
Yep.
Right. So it has a lot of context. Context is the key to getting AI working to the point where it can like sit on an org chart, right? Like imagine you hire someone and you're like, I want you to help me build our product, but I'm not going to give you access to the code base except for little snippets that I tell you on the spot when I give you a job. And I'm not going to tell you what our goals are for the product or for the company. And I'm not going to give you any preferences on how I like to be communicated with. And I would really like it if you could do a great job on this.
Yeah.
And it sounds insane,
Yes.
right? But like this is the first thing where it actually like has all of the context. Oh, all right, compiling. All right, sick. We're compiling Jake's perspective. Let's see. What's working? UGC ads are working. First week delivered 9 qualified calls at $140 cost per call. One verbal deal pending. We updated our qualification criteria, so it changed our SQL criteria. CRM integrated sales led 300K ARR, filtering out bad fit prospects. And our sales cadence is tight. Daily pipeline reviews, call audits, objection handling with Joe and JC. What's not working? Lead volumes, the constraints, our biggest bottleneck. December was tough. Demand gen was kind of a drought, light pipeline heading into the start of January, and our old creative strategy failed, which is why we pivoted to the UGC ads in the first place. Jake's key insight. I despise every ad we're running right now. They're ugly and they outperform anything I've ever created. Human beings confuse me.
Oh, that's so funny.
It's perfect. Translation: stop doing what feels smart and do what converts. UGC is working. Lean into it.
It's pretty good. It's a pretty good summary.
Pretty good
A little,
summary.
little harsh in there.
I
I don't know if I
mean,
said all of that, but it
the
was pretty good.
quote's quote.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, got receipts, bro.
Yeah, I got
The
receipts.
point is, and I set it up to be harsh.
Yeah,
Like
of course.
I literally in the like, how do you want my personality? I said, be hardcore, be an asshole. Don't ever like go for complacence or consensus building. Like I want you to fight me. So like I trained this thing to be a dick, and it delivers.
It's
Which is cool.
impressive.
Yeah. So the point is like I can get any insight from any meeting I've ever had about that. I can get any insight from any book I've read over the past 5 years. That useless database is now useful because I took every one of my Kindle highlights and put them in a vector database. Every bookmark tweet for the past 5 years, vector database, bang. I can search them all with a voice note.
Yeah, and so like a concrete example for you that's accelerating workflows for you is you're creating content daily, and so the ability to create content and have the resources that you need that would have taken tons of time. Like you can literally tell it to prep for your reel shoot,
Hmm.
and then it can give you all of the information that you need to make those reel shoots
Yeah,
effective and
I was prepping for a
accelerate
real shoot last.
everyone.
Yeah, I was prepping for a real shoot last week, and I go through and look at basically take all the real ideas that we come up with, like the ideas that we preload before we make content, and now I have it cross-reference the ideas with my database. So it's like, oh, Simon Sinek had a quote from Leaders Eat Last about this, and I was like, oh, it's a great thing. I should mention Simon when I talk about this topic. Bang, got it in the note. Good to go. It's insane. But none of this is the cool part. Like, this is cool. It's not that it's not cool. It's cool. But this is not the thing that made me have a 9-day week this week.
Yeah.
All right. So
Oh, I
let's
love
talk
that.
let's
That's a,
talk
hey,
about
that's
that.
lock that one in a
Yeah,
9 day
9-day
week.
week. That's
Took it
pretty
from
cool.
7 days to 9.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? We connected all of these dots, and we've been bouncing around a little bit. Let me focus us in. We've connected all the dots. We have a connection to Claude Code through ClaudeBot running on a computer sitting over there that has all of my notes, all of my context, all of my goals. It's trained on how I want to be communicated with, and it has access to all of our code base and all of our product management software. Good on all the foundation, right?
Oh yeah.
It has it all. So we recently made a huge improvement to our software. It's like a new version of the web app. And
Yep.
so like anytime you do something new that's big, there's always a bunch of rough edges that we need to figure out. For me, like I'm essentially function as the product leader. It's usually my job to like capture those, write them up. And also like I code enough to be dangerous. Like if they're little, I'll just fix them. You know, like I can hang. I'm not as good as our engineering team, but like I can get some shit done. So a lot of the time I'll just fix it. If I see it, fix it, good to go. But I had like work to do. Like we were building out our own company scorecard and so on and so forth. And man, I was just finding like thing after thing after thing. This is the workflow that broke my brain. I was able to open Telegram on my computer, and as I would find an issue with the software, I would explain the issue to ClaudeBot in Telegram, right? Hey, this percentage is calculating wrong when it's calculated versus direct entry, whatever, like super hyper specific shit. Just like all these little things though, right? And what I would do is I would have ClaudeBot research the issue on the iMac. I'm using my laptop. It
Yeah.
uses its own computer. It pulls down the code, opens the browser, confirms the bug, looks in the code base, performs a root cause analysis, like tries to find the bug, writes it all up, and puts it into a ticket to be solved. Now it could just make the change, but you start getting into like systems design and resource constraint because I want to keep it available to continue to research things. That's the pace that I was moving
Yes.
at. Like I didn't fix one bug on Wednesday because I could have just had it fix the bug. Like I shipped 18 pull requests, I think it was. And so the point was I tell it what to do. It tickets it, good to go. And now it's up on the board for our ticketing. And yesteryear, that would mean that like Matt or Tosin or, you know, Niel or one of our engineers would have to like pick it up and do the work. But now there's something called a cloud agent where Cursor is another program that we use to like do our coding. You can actually set it up from our project management software. You can assign it to Cursor, and Cursor will spin up an instance of your software in the cloud, and then use one of the AI models that then use one of the AI models that it has available to it to write the fix and then let you review it. And so essentially, what's happening here is I see a bug, I write it up in Telegram. ClaudeBot on the iMac will research it, reproduce it, screenshot it, open the code base, diagnose it, write up a ticket, and push it on the board. And then we assign the ticket to a cloud agent, and on the Cursor cloud agent is actually doing the work. And so the first human interaction that I have, aside from telling it what the problem is reviewing the solution. So if you think about how far the ball just moved down the field, like before, I find a bug, I stop what I'm doing, I take screenshots, I write it up. You know, because I like to try to make life easy for my engineers, I try to like figure out where the bug is. Let's put a little bit of time into it. But half the time I don't have time to do that. So I'm like, this thing's fucked up. I don't know why. Like, go figure it out. And then they got to go figure it out, right? And they're like, oh, I got to like reproduce it on my machine. I can't reproduce the bug. Like all this shit. And now I go from see problem, explain problem, and 30 minutes later, review solution. Like
And
it's
during
insane.
during that 30 minutes,
I'm working.
continuing on the thing that you were naturally
Yes.
doing. And so, man, so many people. Here's another workflow that I would say is like a normal workflow for people. They would be like, okay, I still need to finish the task that I'm doing, so I'm just gonna take a quick note to that. I'll come back to it.
Yes.
And they're not going to stop what they're doing. And so then you finish the day and you're like, I just created 19 more things that I have to do tomorrow.
Nor are they going to come back to half
Yeah,
of them.
yeah, and they're not going to come back to half of them. And so I'm going to try to distill this down to the 5-year-old. So basically, we have level 1, we're searching. Level 2, we're automating. Level 3, there's like 19 levels to level 3.
Yeah.
But this level that we're talking about is literally doing work that a human would do
Yeah.
92%, getting it to the point where it's like, hey, I've found solutions to the problems that you've given me. What would you like to do with them? We can create a ticket, we can push code, we can do those things. And so that's really when you can get to that high level 3.9,
Yeah.
that's when you're really getting provided insights. So, like, where does someone even start with that? We've talked about a Mac Mini, we've talked about Claude Code. Let's just go through the, in 2 minutes, what are the number 1 through 10 tools
Yep.
that we need to have to set this up to say, like, hey, where can I start and how do I go?
Really simple. Based on the time that we're recording this, here's my recommendation. If you're not using AI, start with chat. Any way, shape, or form. If you're using chat but you're underwhelmed with the results, take chat, stick with it, but write up a master prompt. Use the link in the notes that I will give you. Write up a master prompt, connect it to your tools, and use chat better. Once you are getting results out of chat and you need to make it go faster because you're tired of sitting in the chat window, you graduate to level 2. You use a tool called Zapier or N8N to set up some simple automations to automate the things that you were doing in chat. If you're good to go on that and you need to start setting this up, the next thing that I would do is download Claude Code on your computer and start using it to, you don't have to be a coder, start using it to just like change files, like download Obsidian, you can write down some notes, download Claude Code, set it up. And if I feel like there's a fork in the road at that point, some people are going to be like, I don't get this, or it doesn't really jive for me, or whatever. Like, that's cool. I'm not going to force you to do anything. It's not jail, right? Like, so maybe you just stick with automations and you do your thing. Or if that works for you, I'd go check out Peter's Twitter, go check out claudebot.com. All the links are in the show notes, and like set up an old computer, install it. If you've never done anything technical, you're going to have a few like what the fuck moments. But if you are willing to persevere, and this is the point, if you are willing to persevere through the discomfort of not knowing how to do something because you're committed to getting to the other side, you absolutely can vastly accelerate the results that you have. And the cool thing is that I don't know how to do it is also a bullshit excuse, because especially in the context of technical work like this, AI can teach you how to do it. I program in programming languages I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck, man? Like, it's literally like the new like Meta glasses. They do like real time translation, so you can like go to freaking Spain if you don't speak Spanish and just
Yeah.
like talk to people, whatever, and at least understand people. Like, love that. This is that for computer work. So the point is like my buddy, the one I was telling you about, who wanted to use Claude Code to make some prototypes and some lead magnets and shit, but was kind of intimidated by the terminal. Then he just decided, well, I'm just going to learn the terminal. And you don't even need to learn the terminal. Like, how do I install Claude Code? Copy, paste, bang. How do I set you up? Oh, do this, do this, do this. Do you want me to do it for you? Yes. Like, it's only scary in our minds, is the point. Like, if you are, especially if you're in knowledge work, like AI is not to the point where it can dig fucking trenches to run power lines yet. I wish it was. That'd be fucking great. Um, but the point is like if you work on a computer for a living, you are most likely inherently smart enough to go figure out how to move up one level from where you currently are. And I think that's the right first step, is just how am I currently using it? How can I move up one level?
And this is something that we will say until we die. If you're not growing, you are dying.
Amen,
And if you
dude.
become complacent in what you are doing, you're not doing enough.
Yeah.
And so the second you realize ChatGPT is helping you, Claude's helping you, and you're just like, okay, that's cool, and you stop, you become complacent.
Yeah.
And so like there's so many more places that you can go with it. And I think that's the biggest lesson that we could take from this. I think it's also like, we'll talk about it here. I'll put us on the spot. This is probably going to be a workshop in the future at Precision HQ,
Yeah,
where
cool.
we set this up for people and we talk them through, and you leave here with a piece of hardware that, like, you leave here with your second brain.
Yeah, you are putting me on the spot.
Yeah, I'm putting you on the spot, man. But I think it's a valuable thing to talk about because this is overwhelming for a lot of people. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
I think the things that jump out to me are, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make him drink. And so, like, dude, just laid out the water. Like, there's a lot you can do. Like, now you got to go drink it. And
Yeah.
so, we'll help people drink it if
Hell
that
yeah, man.
opportunity presents itself in the future. So feel free to reach out if that's something you're super interested in. And then the other side that I would say is, like, you got to be leaned in. Like, you've said this a million times. Like, setting this up and not using it, like, you have to train it like it's an employee. You have to train it as though you want it to behave the way that you need it to. Like,
Yeah.
it needs what it needs. We say that a
Needs what
ton
it
of times.
needs.
Like, it needs what it needs. And if it's not delivering the result, it is not it. It is you.
Yes, for
So
sure. If you're still not convinced, maybe it's a you problem. But I will say this: I would have had to hire people $300,000 in annual salary to do the shit for me that I did the other day. Like at least a junior engineer, because they weren't like core features. It was all like polish and little bugs here and there, and a product manager to like research and write up and do whatever. So like if I wasn't going to do those things, it's probably $300,000 in annual salary to get people to do those things for me. So sick.
People have to let that sink in,
Yeah.
because we're not talking about like, I'll speak on your behalf. Not an average operator over here. Like, you've been down the road. You've coached thousands of companies. You've worked on building efficient process, efficient systems, technically like light years ahead of 99% of the population. And if you're able to, 10x your work productivity in a single week, that is astounding.
I'm to the point now where I feel anxiety whenever it's not working. Like right now, we've been shooting this podcast for an hour, and I'm just like
9x productivity.
I wonder if I could just like send a message to have it start getting ready for the shit I got to work on when we finish this podcast. It's bananas, dude. So yeah, look, I don't know, man. Life's full of choices. Fucking lean into it or don't. I don't care. But don't be sad when somebody comes through and demolishes your world if you're an entrepreneur. Like that's literally what it comes down to. And I think we just leave it with this. Like a lot of people, especially people who like, what's the right word? I think there's like a lot of like distrust about, from like workers to like business owners, right? In general, not in our company, which is cool because we share everything. But like, I think the right frame to look at this is not like how little can I get by with. Like, I don't look at this as, oh, I want to like fire people and stop paying them. But I do look at this as if I have the right people on the bus, they can do the work of 10 of other people like them, right? So if I can get to the point where I'm essentially doing the work of a product owner, a product manager, and a junior engineer with this. So like sick. Now there's 3 of me. Not to mention the other shit that I'm doing with it.
Yep.
I mean, everything from like organizing meeting notes, like we talked about, to like tracking my protein intake. Like I can send a voice note and be like, hey, I drank a freaking Jocko Mulk, and it adds 30 and tells me how many I left to get to 200.
Yeah, I'll give you one more concrete example, and then we're gonna land this plane. Our annual operating plan is inside of it, and so when you do things that don't align with our annual operating plan, it literally tells you, "Hey, man, like these things are supposed to be trending this way, and they're not because you're wasting time doing these other things." Like, come on, man! It is literally accountability measure for our company.
100%, dude, for all of us, and I think that. Yeah, like that's a really important. Oh God, when you go down the rabbit hole,
we can't do it.
AOPs, we can't do it. But like in 2 cents,
come back to it though.
We will
come back.
It's good. I think we should. I'd love to talk with Scott Chisholm about it too. Like his annual operating plan template is what we installed. And it's a banger. But the bottom line is this: like, take a spreadsheet, make your plan month by month. Like at least map out your sales funnel, right? Like this is what I want my revenue to be, how many sales, how many calls need to do, how many leads, like whatever your funnel looks like, and have it mapped out like month by month, not in the aggregate. And so the point is like you have deliverables all the way up the funnel about like how your business needs to look for every single month. And then if you take that spreadsheet and give it access to, or give Claudebot or Claude Code or your AI, you can do this in chat. It doesn't matter. Like the point is, if you give it access, if you make it smarter by providing it information, it can give you better feedback. So if you like, this is a great example of like just giving it better context. This applies all the way to level 1. Like the common founder anxiety. Am I spending my time in the right places? Well, you can ask it, and then it might say, how are you spending your time? And then you give it your fucking version, right, of how you think you're spending your time, or you look at your calendar, which is how you plan to spend your time, but not how you actually spent your time. And you don't even know, like, how should I be spending my time to reflect the goals that I said I have for myself? If you plug it into the annual operating plan, it's like, your biggest constraint is leads, but then I looked at your calendar and I don't see really materially where you're spending time on business development or lead gen or marketing. Am I missing something? That's a different world than I should spend more time on leads. Like fucking cool. It gave me coaching on a week. Well, the first week I used this, and it called me out because I spent too much time building shit in Claude Code because I was excited about it, and I didn't finish a project that we needed to finish. And I caught it up the next day, but I trained it to be an asshole. And it said to me, this week, you chose dopamine over discipline because you're more interested in building systems with Claude Code than you are about finishing project with Jake. And I was like, damn, when I thought AI was going to kill us all, I didn't mean emotionally, man. Like that shit hurt.
It also got posted in our Slack.
I know.
Which was amazing.
I shared it everywhere. I'm like, this is crazy. you know? So I
We
don't know.
gotta. This is how AI is. It's a world of AI. You
Yeah.
either have to lean in or you're gonna get left
Yeah,
behind.
you're gonna get leaned out, man.
Yeah, exactly. You can't become complacent. And there is always. We talked about. We have a AI specialist hosting on our team, and like he's level 19,
Yeah.
and so like
My
we'll get.
man's building biped robots on his days off. Like he's got a lot of brains, that guy.
But if you're a human that is in business or just in life, my wife is using this for kids' homework and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like, you got to be level one. You got to be looking at once you're familiar and comfortable with level one, how do I get to level two? Once I'm at level two, what is the opportunity to go to level three? And just don't stop. Just
Don't
don't
stop.
stop learning.
Yeah. People say they're either technical or non-technical. There's no such thing as non-technical
Yeah.
anymore. That's what it comes down to. All right, it's a fun deep dive, man. Appreciate you,
Love
bro.
it. It's a good one.
Yo, if you got any questions about what we talked about, follow me on Instagram. I'm active there. I reply to my DMs. You can ask me questions, do whatever. I'll put together a list of all the resources. If you want my master prompt, I'm going to make you send me your email address. But everything else I'll just put in the show notes. Check out Claudebot if you're so inclined. Peter's a fucking genius. I love it. And yeah, hit me up with any questions. Subscribe to the channel. We're talking about more stuff like this every week. Talking about whatever we want and interviewing whoever we want on our way to a nine-figure company. Peace.